Black moms, Black dads, I need you to hear this. Black student enrollment rates at top universities has plummeted over the last 20 years. In fact, the incoming class of Princeton this past year, my alma mater, is seeing an all-time low rate of Black students, as low as the rates that were there in 1968. That is literally so low, 1968. I mean, come on, think about the history of the United States. Let that sink in for a moment. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, while Black students make up about 15% of the undergraduate classes, their representation at these top schools are literally half that. This shrinking has only been exponentially accelerated by the recent Supreme Court's decision to remove affirmative action from the entire admissions process. And if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and watch our video up here that breaks that down. What most parents don't realize is if your student is in freshman year or about to enter freshman year, this is actually the most critical time, the greatest window of opportunity, and also the time that many students get trapped and being behind. So let's dive into what they actually need to get done freshman year to avoid that trap. Get this wrong and your child will miss key opportunities for top admissions as well as merit money. Get this right and you will maximize your students' chances for success and opportunities across the United States. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the 3 most common mistakes that families make in their freshman year. And we'll also walk through exactly how you can avoid them. Before we dive in, go ahead and make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with a friend at the end if this information is helpful to you. We are dropping weekly videos, teachings, trainings to support you in helping your student defy the decline of Black admissions at top universities and also ensuring they get paid in the process. Now, why should you listen to me? My husband, Timothy, and I built our entire practice on this belief. Strategy will always be guesswork. The same way that we set goals in the gym, we need to set goals for the college admissions process. And what most families don't realize is that goal cannot start to be set in junior year. You want to be starting as early as middle school, but especially 8th and 9th grade to really clarify those goals, work backwards to create a strategic plan that can be implemented on right away. With this philosophy in mind, we've guided dozens of families in this journey, securing top admissions to schools like Duke, Carnegie Mellon, Princeton, and you can visit the full list of schools on our website. Not only are students getting into the top universities, they're also earning money in the process. Whether it's directly from the college university itself or through the implementation of our strategies for securing third-party scholarships. Most importantly, we've lived this ourselves. I personally earned 8 full rides, earned a full merit scholarship to Howard University, their prestigious presidential scholarship, over $20,000 in local scholarships, and over $2 million total in aid offers. So our strategy is not something that we are teaching and seeing success with. It was born out of our own process. Together, we've turned our experience into a system that gets repeatable results for our families. All right, so let's get into it. The top 3 mistakes that families make freshman year. Mistake number 1 is trusting the school's timeline. Listen, this is the worst thing that you can do as a freshman parent. Now, what we found for a lot of families, especially if your student is attending an elite private school or a top public school, is that families often think that the school is going to carry the student to elite admissions, especially if that private school is a feeder school for top colleges. Families think, well, academic excellence is what's going to make or break their admission. Let me spend this huge sticker price for this boarding school or private school, and that will lead the way. And essentially the idea here is that academics are the pillar and that extracurriculars are essentially the icing on the cake. That being said, freshman year, they're thinking, well, let me just give my student the time and space to focus on their academics because that's what's gonna make or break admissions, right? No, this is the worst way to think about college admissions and preparing your student. Even at top private schools, most college counselors are not starting until junior year. Now, if you're not sure, go ask your college counselor, your school's college counselor today and ask them, what is your plan? What is your philosophy about college admissions? If they are starting in junior year, it's too late. Why? Because essentially what you want your student to be doing is developing entrepreneurial leadership by figuring out what specific social problem they want to solve, putting together a strategic plan freshman year, and then implementing, building on that strategic plan sophomore, junior, senior year so that they're demonstrating scalable impact over time. Take as an example what I did in my time in high school. I took African American history my sophomore year, and this actually deeply shaped my desire to start an African American culture club at my school. And long story short, mobilized hundreds of students. We got policy change at our school. There was impact over time as the organization scaled, and I was also honored with a certificate Princeton Prize in Race Relations as well. So not only was there impact, there was also an award and an honor for that impact. That is not something that your student can simply start in junior year. We don't want our students just randomly becoming president of a club and just trying to do the most with their extracurriculars. Again, we want to frame it around a specific social problem, and with that specific social problem, identifying how that student is going to solve it, essentially either through a school club, a small business, or a large business, right? But starting their own business or starting a nonprofit. And the other option here would be to do some type of research project, but oftentimes we're going to fit that within the structure of a nonprofit that they start. So these are the scalable organizational structures that we want our students to be solving a problem in, because essentially when they're applying, they're going to be applying as founders, as problem solvers, as innovators, not simply as president of XYZ. This goes into mistake number 2, which is piling on activities instead of strategically thinking about leadership. So the biggest mistake families make is they think that they need to give their student time to figure out what they want to do before they can actually build substantial leadership and demonstrate impact in solving a problem. That is a huge mistake. Why? Your student only needs to pick something that they'll be passionate enough for the next 3 to 4 years. Once they get to college, they can change what they want to major in, they can change what they want to study, they can change the hobbies and the clubs that they want to pursue there. Now, the only exception to this is if they get into a really explicit program like a BSMD program where that's the exact thing they're getting into and they cannot change, or an architecture program and that's the specific school that they're getting into. But in most cases, if your student is not super clear about their career, that is not the type of program they're going to be applying to. So what this means is they can essentially pick, let's say for example, their passion around racial inequity or homelessness, hunger, anything like that, cancer, and they can build a project and a scalable leadership initiative around this. It is essentially for their college application. A lot of families think, well, I don't want my students to just do something they're not passionate about. And what I always say to families is simply pick something that they're going to be passionate about enough for the next few years. Students that are high achieving, like I'm sure your student is, they have multi-passionate interests and they can essentially feel free to pick one without feeling like their identity is completely shaped and molded by that one thing. It is simply for this short time in their life to demonstrate skills to colleges that they can be innovative, that they can lead, that they can solve problems, because those are the students that colleges want to invest in, regardless of the fact that what they actually want to contribute their skills and their career to might shift once they get to college. Mistake number 3 is waiting to think about scholarships. You should be thinking right now. In fact, I'll put up a link here and put it in the bio below for you to be able to calculate your student aid index, formerly known as your estimated family contribution. When you know those numbers and you know, generally speaking, what colleges are going to expect you to pay, what that means is you can work backwards on your strategy. Are you targeting institutions that are going to provide 100% demonstrated need? Are you targeting institutions that are more known for their merits money per student? What are you actually trying to target? I'll give you my example. The reason why I earned 8 full rides is because I applied to 24 schools, all that met 100% demonstrated need. Essentially, we did the math and we determined that these institutions, because of their financial aid policies, if I get in, right, to the Princeton, to the Harvard, to the Brown University, to the Kenyon College, to Bode, if I get into these schools, because of where my family's financial status is, they are going to cover all the demonstrated need. That was because at the time, my dad was an investment banker turned pastor, and we were low income at the time that I was applying. Now, our strategy and our approach changed for my 3 siblings after me because we were no longer considered low income. At that point, we were middle and then later upper middle class. The strategy completely shifted. For my brother, for example, who's now at one of the top HBCU architecture programs at Prairie View, we had to pursue a merit approach where essentially he was able to get into an architecture program and my dad was able to work to negotiate for in-state tuition to reduce that bill. He's paying out of pocket. My brother will not have to take on any loans, right? You see here the strategy changes. For a lot of middle and upper class families that are pursuing elite admissions or top colleges, they don't realize that for middle and upper class families, they're designed to be expensive. The colleges are trying to take your money because at the end of the day, colleges are businesses. For our families that we work with, we help them essentially filling out the FAFSA to minimize their costs and to maximize the different scholarship opportunities to get directly from the institution. But regardless of that fact, when you start late in thinking about these things, you're not affording yourself the opportunity to even work with your student to determine what schools should be on their college list. If you go do college tours and you allow your student to get emotionally attached to one of these top schools, but you know that practically you do not have the savings to fund this type of school, it might be better off going to a school that's less known for its brand, but still extremely high quality for the career or for its academics or whatever it's known for, but it's just less popular. For example, Kenyon College, it's a top college. It's in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, I say, but they gave me a full ride, incredible resources, right? That was one of the schools I was considering if I didn't get into one of the Ivy Leagues, which I ended up at Princeton, because essentially they are more inclined to give money to students to keep and to compete for top talent. And there are plenty of examples of these types of schools across the country. And I'll link down below a resource that literally outlines the top colleges that give the most merit per student, so you can start thinking about some of these less known schools but still very high quality institutions. In short, the earlier you plan, the more you're going to protect your savings and reduce the chances that your student will have or you will have to take out loans. So I'd love to know, where are you at in the college planning process? If you have started to develop a plan for your freshmen, go ahead and drop plan in the comments so I can know that you are moving forward with the plan. And also let me know specifically what from this video you found helpful as you're refining your plan for your student. If you're ready to take everything we talked about a step further, go ahead and book a free strategy session with me and my team, and we'll walk you through how this is going to apply for your family at this specific stage of your journey. We're going to work backwards from the goal, whether that be elite admissions, merit money, or a combination of the two, to develop a personalized plan for your students so that your family and your student is clear, confident, and intentional about every decision that is made. Your student does not need to be doing 10 APs and hundreds of extracurriculars in order to stand out and be competitive. They have to have a really clear theme, really deep value that they want to contribute to the world, and they need to be able to demonstrate to the college that they have that capacity and capability. And finally, don't just do this for your child, do it for our community. Every Black student that we successfully prepare for elite admissions and merit scholarships is contributing to the ultimate goal for us to defy the decline of Black admissions at top colleges. We want to see our attendance increase, not decrease. Every student has a role in seeing that trend change. When one wins, we all win. So like this video, subscribe, share it with another parent who is probably way too stressed about college prep. And together we're gonna keep on building more than resumes. We are out here building legacies for the next generation. It's time to defy the decline, and we'll see you in the next one.